Captain Jun Kim sat in his command chair on the bridge of the TRS Vigilance. The ship hummed with quiet power as it cruised through the dark space of the outer systems. Stars gleamed like tiny jewels against the black backdrop. Jun rubbed his tired eyes. "Sir, we're picking up something strange," said Officer Song, her eyes fixed on her screen. "Unregistered ship on long-range scanners." Jun stood up and walked to her station. "Show me." The screen displayed a small ship moving fast toward a larger vessel. "That's the merchant ship Golden Star," said Jun. "They're carrying medical supplies to Colony 7. He frowned. "And that smaller ship isn't answering standard hails." "Pirates?" asked his second-in-command, Officer Lee. "Looks like it." Jun returned to his chair. "Battle stations. Let's intercept before they reach the merchant ship." Red lights flashed as the crew prepared for action. The Vigilance's engines roared to life, pushing the ship forward at high speed. "We'll be in range in 3 minutes," reported the pilot. Jun studied the tactical display. Something about this attack felt wrong. Pirates usually worked in groups, not alone. And this area had been quiet for weeks. "Sir," called the communications officer, "I'm picking up encrypted transmissions from the pirate vessel. They're talking to someone else. Can you crack it?" "Working on it." "Got it." The officer's eyes widened. "Sir, they're reporting to someone named Sung Han. They're saying, 'Target acquired, waiting for backup before attacking.'" Jun's blood went cold. Sung Han. The name was infamous in these parts, a Korean crime lord who had built a small empire in the outer systems. His pirate crews were known for their brutality and advanced weapons. "Change of plans," said Jun. "This isn't a random pirate. It's one of Sung's scouts. There will be more ships coming." As if to confirm his words, the scanner beeped again. 3 more ships appeared, dropping out of faster-than-light travel. "They've spotted us," said Officer Song. "The scout is breaking off from the merchant ship. All 4 pirate vessels are moving to surround us." Jun smiled grimly. "They think they found easy prey. Let's show them what a Terran Republic warship can do." He pressed a button on his chair. "This is Captain Kim to all hands. We are engaging multiple pirate vessels under the command of Sung Han. These are not ordinary pirates. They have military-grade weapons and know how to use them. But we have something they don't: Terran training and technology. Stand ready." The pirates fired first. Energy beams streaked across space toward the Vigilance. The ship shuddered slightly as its shields absorbed the impact. "Return fire," ordered Jun. "Target their engines." The Vigilance's weapon systems came alive. Precision beams struck the nearest pirate ship, cutting through its weaker shields and disabling its main drive. "1 down," reported the weapons officer. 3 to go. The remaining pirates began to coordinate their attacks, moving in a pattern that showed training beyond common space criminals. "They're better organized than usual," muttered Jun. He made a quick decision. "Deploy the new countermeasures." Officer Lee looked surprised. "Sir, those are still experimental." "So is Sung Han's new pirate fleet, apparently," replied Jun. "Do it." The Vigilance released a cloud of tiny drones. They swarmed toward the pirate ships, attaching to their hulls and disrupting their targeting systems. The pirates' shots began to go wild, missing the Vigilance completely. One by one, the Terran ship disabled their engines and weapons. When the last pirate vessel floated powerless in space, Jun opened a communication channel. "This is Captain Jun Kim of the Terran Republic. You are under arrest for piracy and attempted assault on a Republic vessel." He paused. "And tell your boss, Sung Han, that the Republic is watching. His days of terrorizing these systems are numbered." As the crew secured the captured pirates, Jun knew this was just the beginning. Sung Han wouldn't take this defeat lightly, and Jun had just made himself a target. Shelia Park sat in a dark corner of the Lunar Tavern, a drink untouched in front of her. The bar was filled with loud voices and the smell of cheap alcohol. No one paid attention to the woman in the plain black jacket. That was how she liked it. Her wrist device blinked with a new message. Shelia glanced at it quickly, her face showing nothing. A new contract from the Terran Republic Intelligence Division. Interesting. They didn't call on her often. She finished her drink in one gulp and left the tavern, walking through the crowded streets of New Sol Station. The space station was home to thousands of people from all across the galaxy, perfect for someone who wanted to disappear. In her small room, Shelia opened the full message. A hologram appeared above her wrist device, showing a man's face. "Da Kang," said the computerized voice. "Weapons dealer. Supplying pirate groups in the outer systems. Has connections to Sung Han's organization." Shelia studied the face, about 50 years old. Expensive clothes. The kind of man who liked nice things. Mission: collect debt. Shelia raised an eyebrow. The Republic didn't usually send her to collect money. "Debt is information," continued the voice. "Target has data on Sung Han's operation. Payment for Republic protection was due 3 months ago. Target has avoided all official channels." Now that made more sense. This Da Kang had made a deal with the Republic. Information in exchange for looking the other way at some of his less legal business. But he wasn't delivering. Last known location: Diamond Resort on Vega Prime. High security. Approach with caution. The message ended. Shelia began to pack her things. Vega Prime was 2 days' travel. She would need to prepare. 6 hours later, Shelia boarded a transport ship to Vega Prime. She wore the clothes of a wealthy businesswoman, with her hair styled differently and subtle changes to her face. No one would connect this elegant traveler with the plain woman from the Lunar Tavern. On the ship, Shelia reviewed everything about Da Kang. He sold weapons to pirates, but also to small governments who couldn't buy directly from bigger powers. He was smart, careful, and had survived in a dangerous business for 20 years. The file also mentioned his weakness for gambling and luxury. The Diamond Resort was famous for its casino. Dad would be there to play, not just to hide. As Shelia studied his history, something caught her eye. 15 years ago, Da Kang had worked briefly with her old military unit, selling them information about pirate movements. Shelia had never met him personally, but this was an unexpected connection. She dug deeper, checking dates and missions. With a shock, she realized Da had been their contact during the Pluto Station disaster, the mission where half her unit died because of bad intelligence. Now her mission felt very different. This wasn't just about collecting a debt for the Republic. This was personal. The ship entered faster than light travel, its engines humming. Shelia stared out the small window at the streaks of light. "So, Da Kang," she whispered, "did you sell us out at Pluto Station? Was the ambush you're doing?" She would get the information the Republic wanted, but she would also get answers to her own questions. In her bag was a small case with specialized equipment, weapons that didn't look like weapons, devices to bypass security, and a beautiful evening dress for the casino. Shelia always came prepared. As the ship traveled toward Vega Prime, Shelia closed her eyes to rest. She would need all her skills for this mission. Da Kang might be expecting a Republic agent, but he wouldn't be expecting her, and he certainly wouldn't be expecting someone with a personal score to settle. John Lee yawned as he stared at his screens. Working the night shift at Outpost Epsilon was usually boring. The small space station orbited a gas giant at the edge of Republic space. Not much happened here. John was a communications specialist. His job was to monitor signals, decode messages, and report anything important to his bosses. Most nights, he just listened to static and merchant ships talking about cargo. Tonight was different. His system beeped with an alert. An encrypted message was being sent between 2 ships nearby. John sat up straight and began to work. Breaking codes was what he did best. "Let's see what you're hiding," he muttered as his fingers flew over the keys. The code was good, military grade even, but John was better. After 20 minutes of work, the message appeared on his screen. John's eyes widened as he read. "Attack scheduled for Colony 7. All captains report to coordinates for final briefing. Sung Han expects full participation. John quickly checked the star maps. Colony 7 was a major Terran settlement with thousands of people, and this message suggested a large-scale attack. He needed to alert headquarters right away. John began to prepare a high-priority transmission when the station's alarms suddenly blared. "Attention all personnel," came the station commander's voice over the speakers. "Unknown vessels approaching. Battle stations. This is not a drill." John's heart raced. He looked at his screen again. The message he'd decoded included a set of coordinates. Had the pirates somehow detected his code breaking? Were they coming for the station now? He quickly copied all the data to a small portable drive. This information was too important to lose. The station shook as the first shots hit the outer shields. John grabbed his emergency kit and the data drive, then ran for the escape pods. The corridors were filled with people rushing to their positions. Another hit rocked the station, stronger this time. The lights flickered. "The shields are failing," someone shouted. "They've got military weapons." John pushed his way through the crowd. He had to get that data to Republic headquarters. Nothing else mattered. As he turned a corner, he saw 3 crew members lying on the floor. Standing over them was a man in black armor. Not Republic design. The man turned, and John saw the insignia on his shoulder. A red hand. Some Han's personal enforcers. John ducked back before the man saw him. They weren't just attacking the station. They were boarding it. Looking for something. Or someone. Another explosion shook the station. John used the confusion to slip past the corridor where the enforcers stood. The escape pod bay was just ahead. 2 more armored men guarded the entrance. John couldn't get past them, but he knew the station's layout perfectly. There was another way. He crawled into a maintenance shaft and moved through the narrow space. It was hot and tight, but it led directly to the secondary escape pod bay. Behind him, he could hear voices shouting orders. "Find the communications center. Get all the data. The boss wants to know who was listening." They were after him. They knew someone had broken their code. John reached the small bay with just 3 escape pods. He climbed into one, his hands shaking as he started the launch sequence. "Stop right there." A voice came from the entrance. A tall man in more elaborate armor stood with a weapon pointed at John. "Step away from the controls." John recognized the face from Republic security alerts. Top Min, Sung Han's top enforcer. Instead of obeying, John slammed his hand on the launch button. The pod door sealed shut as Tai fired. The shot hit the closing door, leaving a scorched mark. The escape pod blasted away from the station. John breathed hard, clutching the data drive. He was safe for now, but the pod systems showed 3 ships breaking away from the station to follow him. The chase had just begun, and John knew too much for Sung Han to let him escape alive. Captain Jung Kim looked at his reflection in the mirror. The face that stared back was not his own. The Republic's advanced disguise technology had changed his features completely. Now he looked like Rak-Su, a minor pirate captain known for his quick temper and successful raids on small cargo ships. The real Rak-Su was sitting in a Republic prison cell. No one at the meeting would know the difference. "The disguise is perfect, sir," said Lieutenant Wu, adjusting the final details of June's pirate outfit. "Just remember to walk with a slight limp." Rak-Su was injured in a fight last year. June practiced the walk, adding a small limp to his left leg. "How long will the face mask last?" 48 hours, guaranteed. More than enough time for the meeting. June nodded. Tonight, Sung Han had called together the captains of 20 pirate ships. The Republic had learned about it through a paid informant. This was their chance to find out what Sung was planning. 6 hours later, June walked into a large underground room on the moon of Sirius 4. No weapons were allowed inside, but June had several hidden devices that the guard scanners couldn't detect. The room was filled with rough-looking men and women. Some of the most feared pirate captains in the sector stood in groups, talking in low voices. June recognized many faces from Republic wanted lists. He kept to himself, watching and listening. No one paid much attention to Raksu, a small fish among sharks. A door opened at the far end of the room. Everyone fell silent as Sung Han entered. He was shorter than June had expected, but his presence filled the room. 2 large guards followed him, along with a woman in a captain's coat. "That's Hana Ryu," whispered a nearby pirate to his friend. "They say her ship, the Shadow Blade, can appear and disappear like a ghost." June studied her carefully. Hana stood close to Sung, her face showing no emotion. She looked dangerous and smart, a bad combination in an enemy. Sung Han raised his hands for silence, though the room was already quiet. "Friends," he said, his voice surprisingly soft. "Thank you for coming. We have important things to discuss." He touched a button on his wrist, and a large hologram appeared above the table. It showed a map of the sector, with Republic ships and stations marked in red. "For too long, we have fought each other for scraps," said Sung. "We raid a ship here, attack a small outpost there. And what happens? The Republic sends 1 warship, and we run away." Many captains nodded. This was their reality. "But what if we stopped fighting each other?" Sung continued. "What if all our ships worked together? The Republic couldn't stop us." June kept his face neutral, but inside he felt a chill. A united pirate fleet would be a serious threat. "I propose an alliance," said Sung. "All our ships, all our crews, working under one command. My command." Some captains looked uncertain. Pirates valued their freedom. "And why should we follow you?" called out a large captain with a scared face. Sung smiled. "A fair question, Captain Dole. First, because I have these." The hologram changed to show new ship designs, sleek, powerful vessels with heavy weapons. 5 new warships, built in secret, faster and stronger than anything the Republic has in this sector. I will give 1 to each captain who proves their loyalty. The room filled with excited whispers. "And second," continued Sung, "because I have people inside the Republic. People who tell me their secrets, their ship movements, their weak points." Now June was truly worried. A spy in the Republic. This was worse than they had imagined. Hana Ryu stepped forward. "The Republic thinks they are so powerful, but their strength is built on lies. They cannot protect their people. We will show everyone the truth." Her eyes swept the room, and for a moment, June thought she looked directly at him. Did she suspect? He forced himself to keep calm. As Sung continued to outline his plan for a united pirate fleet, June listened carefully, recording everything with his hidden devices. The Republic needed to know about this threat immediately. But first, he had to get out alive. The Diamond Resort on Vega Prime shone like a jewel against the night sky. Tall towers of glass and light reached up from the center of an artificial lake. Flying cars carried rich guests to and from the grand entrance. Shelia Park stepped out of a silver car, wearing a long blue dress that sparkled in the light. Her hair was styled elegantly, and she wore expensive jewelry. No one would guess she was a bounty hunter. "Welcome to Diamond Resort, Ms. Jin," said a smiling attendant, using the fake name from Sheila's identification. Shelia smiled back and walked into the huge lobby. Crystal chandeliers hung from high ceilings. Well-dressed people from a dozen different planets mingled, laughing and drinking. Her eyes scanned the crowd, looking for Da Kang. According to her information, he never missed the big gambling tournament held here every month. Tonight was the final round. She made her way to the main casino floor. Hundreds of games were being played, from simple card games to complex holographic puzzles. The tournament was in a special area at the back. Shelia bought chips with her credit card and began to play at a table near the tournament area. She needed to look like a real guest while she waited. After an hour, she saw him. Da Kang walked in surrounded by 3 bodyguards. He was dressed in a white suit with gold buttons. His hair was perfectly styled, and he wore rings on each finger. Shelia watched him from behind her cards. He looked exactly like his pictures, about 50 years old, with a face that showed he enjoyed the good life. He laughed loudly as he greeted other players. Now she needed to get close to him. The bodyguards would make it difficult to approach directly. Shelia played for another hour, winning enough to attract attention. When she won a particularly large pot, she celebrated loudly, making sure Dad noticed her. He did. As she collected her winnings, she felt someone behind her. "Impressive play," said a smooth voice. "You seem to have luck on your side tonight." Shelia turned to see Da Kang smiling at her. One bodyguard stood behind him. The others waited by the door. "Thank you," she said, smiling back. "But I don't believe in luck. Only skill and careful planning." Day laughed. "A woman after my own heart. Will you join me for a drink? I could use some of your skill and planning in the tournament." "Perfect." Shelia nodded and followed him to a private table. Drinks appeared instantly. "So, Ms. Da left the question hanging." "Jin," said Shelia. "Yuna Jin. I'm in the starship design business." "Ah, a fellow business person. I deal in specialty equipment myself." "Weapons," thought Shelia. "You sell guns to pirates who kill innocent people." They talked for an hour. Shelia was careful to seem interested but not too curious. Dad clearly enjoyed having a beautiful woman listening to his stories. As he spoke about his travels, Shelia noticed something odd. He kept checking his wrist device, and his eyes would dart to the exits every few minutes. He was nervous about something. "Is everything all right?" she asked when he checked his device for the 5th time. Dad's smile faltered for a second. "Yes, of course. Just some business matters that need attention." He was lying. He was expecting trouble. Did he know who she really was? Shelia excused herself to use the restroom. In the hallway, she quickly checked her own device. A message from her Republic contact had just arrived. "Warning. Target knows he's being hunted. Republic not only interested party. Proceed with caution." So that was it. Someone else was after Day too. But who? Republic intelligence didn't know, or they would have said. When she returned to the table, Day was finishing a call. He looked up at her with different eyes. Cold. Suspicious. "You know," he said quietly, "you remind me of someone I met years ago. A Republic soldier." Sheila's heart raced. Her cover was blown. "But how?" She kept her face calm. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said. "I've never been a soldier." Day stood up. "I think you have, Shelia Park." As his bodyguard moved toward her, Shelia grabbed her drink and threw it in his face. Then she ran. Behind her, she heard Dai shouting orders. The chase had begun. John Lee wiped sweat from his forehead as he worked in the hot mining tunnel. 2 weeks had passed since his escape from Outpost Epsilon. His escape pod had landed on Horus 3, a planet known for its rich mineral deposits and rough mining colonies. He had traded his Republic uniform for dirty work clothes. Now he looked like any other miner, digging for valuable metals deep underground. No one asked questions here. Everyone had something to hide. The data drive with the pirate attack plans stayed with him always, hidden in a secret pocket. John hadn't found a safe way to contact the Republic yet. Sung Han's people were still looking for him. Twice he had spotted men asking questions in the town, showing pictures of his face. "Lee, break time's over. Back to work," shouted the foreman. John picked up his mining tool and returned to the rock face. He had to be patient. The supply ship would arrive in 3 days. Maybe then he could find a way to send a message. That night, John returned to his small room in the workers' housing block. The building was old and dirty, with thin walls and broken lights. But it was safe for now. He locked his door and fell onto the narrow bed, exhausted. Mining work was hard, especially for someone used to sitting at a communications console all day. John was almost asleep when he heard a soft knock at his door. He sat up quickly, reaching for the small blaster he had bought on the black market. "Who's there?" he called. "A friend," came a woman's voice. "Someone who can help you get that data to the right people." John's heart raced. No one here knew about the data. This had to be a trap. I don't know what you're talking about, he said. Go away or I'll call security. A soft laugh came from the other side of the door. Security? In this place? Please, John. I'm not with some Han. I'm with Republic Intelligence. My name is Mina Park. John moved closer to the door, but didn't open it. Prove it. Authorization code Bravo 79 Delta 2. Check your Republic emergency protocols. And hurry. I was followed to this planet. John thought quickly. That was a real Republic code, used only by intelligence agents, but it could be a trick. If you're really Republic Intelligence, tell me something only they would know. Your commanding officer at Outpost Epsilon was Captain Linway. Your specialty is breaking high-level encryption codes, and you have a pet fish named Bubbles in your quarters on the station. John blinked in surprise. The fish was a personal detail that wouldn't be in any official record. He opened the door. A young woman stood there, dressed as a miner like him. Her dark hair was cut short, and her face was smudged with dirt, but her eyes were sharp and alert. "Can I come in?" she asked. "It's not safe to talk in the hallway." John stepped aside to let her enter, then quickly locked the door behind her. "How did you find me?" he asked. "Your escape pod's emergency beacon. We got the signal before it died. I've been looking for you for 10 days. Mina sat on the room's only chair. "Do you still have the data?" John nodded and took out the small drive from his hidden pocket. "It's all here. Plans for a major attack on Colony 7. But that's not all. Sung Han is uniting the pirate groups into one fleet, and he has coordinates for his main base in Year 2. Mina's eyes widened. "That's even more valuable than we thought. We need to get this to headquarters immediately." "How?" "The spaceport is watched. I've tried to leave twice, but Sung's men are everywhere. I have a ship hidden in the old mining sector. We can leave tonight." Mina stood up. "Pack only what you need. We have to hurry." As John gathered his few belongings, a loud explosion shook the building. Dust fell from the ceiling. Mina ran to the small window. "They found us. It's Ta Min. He's leading a group of Sung's enforcers. They're at the main entrance." John felt cold fear in his stomach. "How did they find you so quickly?" "I don't know." Mina pulled out a blaster. "But our only way out now is through the mining tunnels. Do you know them well?" John nodded. "I've been working there for 2 weeks. I know a back route that might get us to the old sector." "Then let's go. Stay close to me." As they slipped out the back door of the building, John heard shouting from the front. Ta Min and his men had entered the building. The chase through the dark mining tunnels of Horus 3 had begun. Captain Jum Kim woke up in a small dark cell. His head hurt badly. The last thing he remembered was trying to leave the pirate meeting. Someone had hit him from behind. He touched his face. The disguise technology was gone. They would know who he really was now. The cell door had a small window. Through it, Jum could see a corridor with more cells. He was on a ship, not a planet. The slight vibration in the floor told him the engines were running. Hours passed. Finally, the door opened. 2 guards entered, weapons ready. "Get up," one ordered. "The boss wants to see you." Jum stood slowly. His Republic training had prepared him for capture, but that didn't make it easier. The guards took him through several corridors to a large room that served as the captain's office. Sung Han sat behind a desk, looking at screens showing star maps. He looked up as Jum entered. "Captain Jum Kim of the Terran Republic," said Sung. "You are far from home." Jum said nothing. He noticed someone else in the corner of the room. Hana Ryu, watching him with cold eyes. "Your disguise was good," continued Sung, "but not good enough. We have technology too, Captain. Technology that can detect Republic face masks." Jum kept his face neutral. This was bad news. If pirates could now detect their best disguise technology, many Republic spies were in danger. "What did you hope to learn at my meeting?" asked Sung. What will you tell your bosses? Nothing they don't already know, said June, speaking for the first time. That you're trying to unite the pirates, that you have new ships, that you're planning something big. Sung smiled. Yes, something very big, something that will change everything in this sector. He stood and walked around the desk. The Republic thinks they own space. They make the rules. They decide who can trade where, who can live where, but they are wrong. June had heard this speech before. Many pirates saw themselves as freedom fighters against Republic control. Your Republic took my home, said Sung. They called it resource management. They moved everyone so they could mine our planet. My family died in the relocation camps. For a moment, Jun saw real pain in Sung's eyes. Then it was gone, replaced by cold anger. Put him back in his cell, Sung ordered the guards. We'll decide what to do with him later. The guards took June away. Back in his cell, he examined every corner, looking for a way out. There was none. Several hours later, the door opened again. June prepared to fight, but it was only one person, Hannah Ryu. She put a finger to her lips for silence, then quickly checked the corridor. We don't have much time, she whispered. The guard will be back in 10 minutes. June stared at her in confusion. What are you doing? My job. Hannah moved closer. I'm Captain Hannah Ryu, deep cover agent for Republic Intelligence. I've been undercover in Sung's organization for 3 years. June couldn't believe it. Prove it. Authorization code Echo 52 Alpha 9. And your ship, the Vigilance, has a small dent on the bridge door where your first officer kicked it during an argument with you last year. That was true, and not in any official record. Why are you here? Asked June, now believing her. To get you out, and to stop Sung's plan. Hannah looked at her wrist device. Sung has spies in the Republic. High-level spies. That's how he knew about your disguise. That's how he gets ship movements and patrol schedules. Who? I don't know yet, but it's someone with access to classified information. She handed him a small device. This will disable the cell door lock in 2 hours. By then, I'll have created a distraction in the engine room. Where will I go then? Deck C, Escape Pod Bay. I've programmed one pod to launch automatically. It will take you to these coordinates. She showed him a star map, a small Republic outpost. From there, you can warn headquarters. What about you? I'm staying. I need to find out who the spy is. Hannah checked the corridor again. The pirates are gathering for their first attack. It's happening soon. Jude nodded. Come with me. Your cover is more important than getting me out. No, some will kill everyone on the ship if I go missing. There are innocent people here, cooks, mechanics, families of the pirates. I won't leave them to die. Hannah moved toward the door. 2 hours. Be ready. After she left, Jun sat on the small bed, thinking hard. A Republic spy in Sung's inner circle, a spy in the Republic's high command, and a pirate fleet ready to attack. The sector was about to explode into war. Shelia ran through the colorful environment domes of the Diamond Resort. Behind her, Da Kang's men were closing in. She had managed to escape the casino, but now she was trapped in the tropical garden dome. Real trees and plants from a dozen planets grew here. Colorful birds flew overhead. Any other time, it would be beautiful. Now, it was just a maze she needed to escape. Shelia ducked behind a large blue tree as 2 guards ran past. She was still wearing her evening dress, which made hiding difficult. Carefully, she moved toward the service door she had spotted earlier. Just as she reached the door, a voice called from behind her. That's far enough, Miss Park. Shelia turned slowly. Da Kang stood there alone, holding a small gun. His white suit was still perfect, not a wrinkle in sight. You've led us on quite a chase, said Da. But it ends here. Shelia stayed calm. The Republic just wants the information you promised, Da. The information about Sung Han's operation. You made a deal. Da laughed. The Republic, always making deals, always breaking them, just like at Pluto Station. Shelia tensed at the mention of the disaster. What do you know about Pluto Station? I know everything. I was there, remember? I provided the intelligence. Day's face grew serious. But I didn't betray your unit. The Republic did. You're lying. Am I? Dad lowered his gun slightly. Why do you think I've been avoiding Republic agents? The information I have isn't just about Sung Han. It's about Admiral Jin Quan. Shelia stared at him in shock. Admiral Jin Quan was one of the highest-ranking officers in the Republic fleet. He was Captain Jum Kim's direct boss. What about Admiral Jin? She asked carefully. He's the one who changed my intelligence report before Pluto Station. He's the one who sent your unit into an ambush. Dai shook his head. And he's the one feeding information to Sung Han right now. Shelia couldn't believe it. Admiral Jin, a traitor. It seemed impossible, yet it would explain so much. That's a serious accusation, she said. Do you have proof? I have everything. Dai tapped his wrist device. Communication logs, money transfers, meeting records. Enough to put him away forever. Sheila's mind raced. If this was true, the Republic was in grave danger. Any mission against Sung Han would be compromised before it began. Why tell me this? She asked. Why not go directly to Republic intelligence? Because Jin has people there too. I needed to find someone I could trust. Da looked at her closely. Someone who lost friends at Pluto Station. Someone with a personal stake. A noise from behind made them both turn. Day's bodyguards had found them. Boss, we've got her cornered, said the lead guard, raising his weapon. Stand down, ordered Da. Miss Park and I have come to an understanding. The guards looked confused, but lowered their weapons. Day turned back to Shelia. We need to go somewhere safe. I have a private ship on the landing pad. From there, we can contact the right people in the Republic. Shelia hesitated. Could she trust him? But what choice did she have? If Admiral Jin was really a traitor, every minute counted. All right, she said. But I'm watching you, Dai. I wouldn't expect anything less. 2 hours later, they sat in a small Republic safe house on a nearby moon. Shelia had contacted her most trusted superior, showing him some of Day's evidence. The man's face had gone pale on the video call. This is worse than we thought, he said. Captain Kim was sent on a mission to infiltrate Sung's meeting. If Jin knew about it, then June is walking into a trap, finished Shelia. We've lost contact with him 3 days ago, said her superior. And there's more. We just got word that Sung's fleet is mobilizing. Intelligence suggests they're targeting our main naval base in the sector. Shelia looked at Da. How soon? Days. Maybe less, he answered. Sung has been planning this for years. Jin has given him everything he needs. Patrol schedules, defense codes, ship positions. We need to warn the base, said Shelia. And we need to find Jun. There's one more thing, added her superior. A communications specialist named John Lee escaped from Outpost Epsilon with data about Sung's attack plans. One of our agents, Mina Park, has made contact with him. They're trying to reach us now. Sheila's eyes widened. Mina Park. She's my sister. I know. That's why I'm telling you. They're in danger. Sung's enforcer, Ta Min, is hunting them. Shelia stood up, determination in her eyes. Where were they last seen? Mining colony on Horus 3. I'm going there, said Shelia. John's data combined with Day's evidence might be enough to convince the fleet about Jin, even without Jun's testimony. Her superior nodded. Go. I'll send a trusted team to protect Dai and his evidence. And Shelia, be careful. If Jin realizes we know about him, the main Republic naval base in the sector, New Horizon, buzzed with activity. Alarms blared as ships prepared for battle. The warning had come just in time. John Lee and Mina Park had made it off Horus 3 alive, escaping through the mining tunnels while Ta Min's men searched the colony. Their small ship had reached a Republic patrol, which rushed them to New Horizon with their vital data. Now John stood in the command center, watching as officers studied the attack plans he had intercepted. Sung Han plans to hit us from 3 directions, explained John, pointing at the star map. His new warships will lead the attack. He thinks we won't be ready. The base commander, a tall woman named Admiral Chen, nodded grimly. Thanks to you, we will be. But we still have a problem. If what you're saying about Admiral Jin is true, he could still warn Sung that we know. That's why we cut off all communication with fleet headquarters, said Mena. As far as Jin knows, we're still in the dark. On the other side of the base, Shelia Park's ship landed. She had traveled at dangerous speed to reach New Horizon before the attack. As she ran down the ramp, she saw a familiar face waiting. Mena. She called, embracing her sister. You're alive. Barely, said Mena with a small smile. John's quick thinking saved us in the tunnels. Shelia looked at the young man standing nearby. You must be John. Thank you for protecting my sister. John nodded shyly. She protected me too. Come, said Mena. Admiral Chen needs to see you. We just received a transmission from a Republic escape pod. It's Captain Jun Kim. In the medical bay, Jun sat on an examination table. He looked tired but alert. His escape from Sung's ship had succeeded, thanks to Hana Ryu's help. Hana stayed behind. He told Shelia as she entered. She's our only eyes inside Sung's operation now. Did she learn who the spy is? Asked Shelia. Yes, it's Admiral Jin Quan. Jun's face showed his anger and betrayal. My own commanding officer. We know, said Shelia. Da Kang had proof. The Republic leadership has been informed. Jin is being arrested as we speak. Jun stood up. But it might be too late. Sung's fleet is on the move. And Hana sent a final message. They have a new weapon. Something that can disable our shift shields. Alarms sounded throughout the base. A voice came over the speakers. All personnel to battle stations. Enemy fleet detected at the edge of the system. In the command center, Admiral Chen directed the defense. Republic ships moved into position, their crews ready for the fight. Some thinks he has the advantage of surprise, said Chen. He doesn't know we've been warned, and he doesn't know we've modified our shields based on Captain Kim's information. John worked at a communications console, monitoring enemy transmissions. Suddenly, he looked up. Admiral, I'm picking up strange signals from one of the pirate flagship. It's being broadcast on all channels. On the main screen appeared the image of a woman, Hana Ryu. Behind her, alarms were blaring. This is Captain Hana Ryu, Republic Intelligence, she said quickly. Sung Han's flagship has been sabotaged. Main weapons and engines are failing. The rest of the fleet is in disarray. In the background, they could hear shouting and the sound of fighting. She did it, whispered Jun. She's taking down the ship from inside. Admiral Chen turned to her officers. Launch all fighters. Target the confused ships first. This is our chance. The battle that followed was fierce but one-sided. Without their leaders' coordination, the pirate fleet could not match the Republic's disciplined attack. One by one, pirate ships surrendered or fled. Sung Han's grand plan had failed. Hours later, as the fighting ended, a small shuttle docked at New Horizon. Hana Ryu walked out, escorting a handcuffed prisoner, Sung Han himself. Consider this my final report, said Hana to her amazed colleagues. As Republic officers took Sung away, the 4 heroes, Jun, Shelia, John, and Mena, watched from a viewport as the remains of the pirate fleet were rounded up. What happens now? Asked John. Now, said Jun, we rebuild. The Republic still has problems to fix. Sung wasn't wrong about everything. Some colonies do suffer under Republic rule. Then we'll make it better, said Shelia. That's what humans do. We learn. We improve. Mena nodded. And we remember that power needs to be watched. Jin betrayed us because no one was watching him. As they spoke, a message arrived for Jun. His eyes widened as he read it. "It's from Republic Command," he said. "They're offering me Admiral Jin's position. They want me to lead the fleet in this sector." The others smiled. "A good choice," said Shelia. "The first of many changes to come."